Okay, good evening, everybody. We are live. Okay, we just went live. Welcome. I am Minister Marcus, and welcome to the Maximize Your Life Bible Study. What I do on Wednesday nights is I come on and I try to encourage people who are trying to grow their spirit and try to, just grow themselves personally. And so tonight, once again, I am back. Welcome my TGM television crew on YouTube. Welcome my Facebook Live crew. Also, welcome my Instagram crew. Um, for those of you that don't know, I am always busy. I always have like 10 things to do. So at this time of evening, I'll be getting ready to go to bed or I'll be working on something. But I'm a little bit tired tonight, but it's okay. Tonight, the first Wednesday in November. And for those of you that haven't been watching, for those of you that have, we've been going through the Bible. What I do is I've been trying to go through every book. And so we spend a month in the books of the Bible. And so we are up to the book of Numbers. We started in Genesis. Um, and so we have worked our way up to the book of Numbers. Hopefully you can continue to be a part of that. Next week we're going to be in Numbers. The rest of the month we're going to be in Numbers. And then in December we're going to do Deuteronomy and so on and so forth. So we're doing one new book every month. What I like to do is I want to make sure that we can bring out the good stuff in the Bible. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the Bible is not just some, book that you read, but there are actually things that you can apply to your life. And so hopefully tonight I can give you something. So with that, guys, I'm not going to be on long. I got 3 things for you tonight, and then I'm going off. We are in the book of Numbers. We go into Numbers chapter 3. I'm going to read out of Big Green. I name my Bibles, by the way. This is Big Green. As you can see, it's toe up a little bit. But we go into Numbers chapter 3, verse 5 through 10. And I'm going to read it out of, how you doing? I see you on Facebook there. I'm going to read it out of Big Green. Big Green, I believe, is a New Living Translation, but I'm going to read it out of this version so that you guys can get a better understanding of what we're reading, okay? So Numbers chapter 3, we're going to start at verse 5 through 10. I got 3 things for you tonight, and then I'm going offline. Then the Lord said to Moses, call forward the tribe of Levi and present them to Aaron the priest as his assistants. They will serve Aaron and the whole community, performing their sacred duties in and around the temple. They will also maintain all the furnishings of the sacred tent, serving in the temple on behalf of all the Israelites. Assign the Levites to Aaron and his sons as their assistants. And here's verse 10. Appoint Aaron and his sons to carry out the duties of the priesthood. Anyone else who comes too near the sanctuary must be executed. All right. All right. And so don't have a title for you tonight, but I do got 3 things that we're going to talk about. All right. And so tonight we are in Numbers. Okay. And for those of you that don't know, for those of you that do, we've been walking up. And so what we've been doing is we've been following along God's production of delivering Israel from Egypt, bringing them to Mount Sinai. And then from Mount Sinai, they're on their way here where we are in Numbers. They're on their way to get ready to leave Mount Sinai to the promised land. So in Leviticus, they have been there for about 2 years, just learning, getting God's customs and learning, understanding God's ways. And we was in Leviticus the whole month last month. And so we kind of talked about that. And so we're in Numbers, the 4th book of the Bible. It is the next link in the chain of God bringing Israel into the promised land. And what we have been seeing from Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and here the Numbers, what we have been seeing is God slowly preparing them for the promised land, slowly preparing them for the promised land. And so with every book, what God does with Israel is he takes Israel to the next level of preparedness. And so what I want us to understand, and we go into part number 1, but God is a God of progression. I really want the church people to understand that God is a God of progression. What I want to stress about that is that it's easy to go to church and stay the same. You can go to church and learn all of the church mechanics. You know when to clap, you know when to wave your hand, you know when the preacher say, but on the 3rd day, you know that you're supposed to get up and say amen or whatever. So we know we can do that, right? We know the church mechanics. But the thing about God is that God is a God of progression. And a lot of people that talk to me, and I tell them this, is that you can go to church and be the same after a year or 2 years. But when you start walking with God, God kind of forces you to grow because He is a God of progression. That means you can come in one way, but God does not allow you to stay the way that you come. And I say it like this, that He wants you to come as you are, but you are not allowed to stay as you come. And so, moving to number one, understand that as you are walking with God, God is taking you through a process of preparation. All right. And so, number one is that God is preparing you. This is what He does with Israel. He's taking them through different channels, through different phases of their life to prepare them for the next phase. Have you considered that God is using this phase of your life to prepare you for the next phase of your life? Didn't nobody tell me that, right? When I first came into God, I thought you just come to church, you dress up cute on Sunday, and that was it. But didn't nobody tell me that God is a God of progression and that He's going to force me to grow up? He takes your life through steps and stages to prepare you for the next thing. So God is not thinking about for where you are right now, but God is trying to prepare you for what it is that He's trying to do to you in your future. And this is what we see God doing throughout the whole first books of the Bible. He's taking Israel from where they are to where He wants them to be. And so, number one, say, God is preparing me. We see God preparing them for the promised land. Now, here's what I want you to get, right? Come on, say, God is preparing me. Even though they prayed for it, they weren't prepared for it. Even though they prayed for it, they weren't prepared for it. Have you considered what it's going to take to get you to what you prayed for? Everybody is praying for more money. Everybody is praying for the promotion. Everybody is praying for that next level. But here's the thing, they were praying for it, but they weren't prepared for it. In their minds, all they was going to do was go from being slaves to being free. But there were so many things that they needed to learn and didn't understand that they needed to learn. And so God had to walk them up through steps and stages. And I want you to ask yourself this question. Have you considered what it's going to take not just to pray for, but to get what it is that you're praying for, to maintain what it is that you have been asking God for? And this is what I say. He's preparing me. Come on, say He's preparing me. Are you prepared for what you prayed for? Consider this. Consider this. Come on, say He's preparing me. He's getting you ready. Consider that this place in your life is God preparing you for what you prayed for. Consider that. I just want you to consider that just for 2 seconds. That maybe where you are in your life right now, you are here because God is using this place to prepare you for what you've been praying for. See, you thought that God was just going to take you out of one phase and throw you into the next phase, when in reality, God takes your life through steps and stages. Come, I know it's hard, but He's preparing you. It's probably frustrating, but He's preparing you. I want you to hear me when I say that this phase of your life is God preparing you for what you prayed for. Somebody prayed for a husband, but my question is, are you prepared to be a wife? Somebody prayed for a baby, but are you prepared to be a parent? And I talked to so many young people, they wanted to have kids until a kid got there and they realized how unprepared they were. Somebody's praying for a wife. Are you ready to be a husband? Somebody praying for a car. Are you ready for the car note? Are you ready for the insurance? Are you ready for the maintenance? Are you ready to get the tires rotated? We pray for stuff that we're not prepared for. And so what God has to do is He has to take you through the process of preparation. Are you praying for a promotion? Are you praying for increase? But are you ready for the responsibility of it? And so what God has to do, He has to take you through the process of preparation. I wish somebody would have told me that, right, when I was younger, because then I would have understood it. But I had to learn that God takes you through steps and stages for a reason. And it's because He don't just want you to get it, but He wants you to be able to keep it when He give it to you. Come on. I want you to hear me when I say this, that God takes you through the process of preparation so that when He gives you what it is that He want to get to you, you don't squander it. You don't mess over it. You don't mistreat it. You don't take it for granted. But if God prepares you for it, when He gives it to you, you're ready to handle it, right? And so number one, God is preparing you. I know it's difficult, but remember that God is preparing you. I want you to hear me when I say this. I had to change my prayers, Not just give it to me, but prepare me so that I'm ready for it. Prepare me so I can handle it when you give it to me. All right. So, number one, God is preparing you. Come on, say, God is preparing me. He's getting you ready. All right. So, Numbers, the book of Numbers, it gets its name from God commanding Moses to take a census of the people. In other words, he's counting them, right? He wants to take an inventory of everybody, where they are, who they are, where they come from, blah, blah, blah. And so Moses needed to know exactly how many men were ready to fight for Israel. And I want you to hear me when I say this, that God knew that in order for them to get to their next place, they had to be ready to defend themselves. They needed to become more structured if they were going to survive. Why? Because the environment that they were going to was going to be hostile. It's significant. It's significant. I want you to follow me, because they had come to Mount Sinai one way. They had come as just a mass of people. But now that it was time for them to go to their next phase, God instructs them, you got to be a little bit more organized. And so here's number two, here's number two, here's number two. Be ready to change some habits. I want you to say that. You got to be ready to change some habits. Why? Because it's designed for you to leave different. It's designed for you to leave different. You can't go into your next chapter the same way you came into this one. Remember, I said that God is a God of progression. God is a God of progression. That means the way you came into where you are, it's not designed for you to leave the same way, but it's designed for you to leave different. Some things you have to leave here if you want to go there. I'm gonna say that again. Some things you have to leave here if you want to go there. It's designed for you to leave. You know why it's so frustrating? Because it's designed for you to leave different. You know why it's so annoying? It's designed for you to leave different. He's trying to get you to change something, but most of the time what it is, we're stubborn. We stubborn. Yep, yep. I know. I'm not talking about y'all, but I'm talking about me. Because there was some times that God was trying to get me to upgrade myself. There was some times that God was trying to get me to see some things a little bit different. But because I was stuck in my ways and I wanted to stay the same, it was like God was saying, listen, I want you to get that, but there's no way I'm going to give you that if you try to take what you're doing now into what I'm trying. And I want you to understand, you will not be able to go into your new place with old habits. Here's number two, be ready to change some habits. You will not be able to go into your new place with old habits. He said, Israel, I know you came in as just a mass of people, but when we leave, I'm going to need you to get some organization, right? I'm going to need to know who is where, who is doing what. I need some organization. I want you to hear me when I say this, that you will not be able to go into your new place with old habits. Your new relationship, you can't take that old stuff in there. You're going to mess it up. The promotion, you asking God for a promotion, a new job. You can't take those old, and I want you to hear me when I say that. It's designed for you to leave different. It's designed for you to leave different. That's why it's frustrating, because you're trying to stay the same and God is trying to get you to change. Number two, you got to be ready to change some habits. Your next level requires something more from you. You may have to get up earlier. Look, when God started to elevate my life, I was sleeping late. I want y'all to hear me when I say that. I was sleeping late. I was used to sleeping late. I was used to getting up pretty much whatever time I wanted to, right? But for that next level, right, it took something extra for me, right? And I was trying to stay the same, but God was like, Marcus, you can't survive on this next level doing the old level stuff. And this is our problem. We try to take those old habits into new things, and God is like, it's not gonna work. You're gonna die if you go in with the same old stuff. You're not gonna survive. Your new relationship not going to survive with them old crazy habits. But I want you to hear me when I say this. Be ready to change some habits. You might have to get up earlier. You might have to change your diet. You might have to be a little bit more structured, a little bit more organized if you want that next promotion. For those of you that are praying for finances, I want you to hear me when I say that. You got to be more disciplined in your spending or more precise. Hear me when I say that. Maybe God has fixed you at this point in your life in order to force you into some new habits. And I don't know if that's just for me, but I have been in situations that God did not move. He did not change because he wanted me to change in a situation. And maybe that's some of you, maybe somebody that's watching this tonight, maybe you don't understand why you've been at this place in your life for so long, but maybe it's God having you fixed at this place in order to force you to change some of your habits, to change some of your ways. Come on, number two, I want you to hear me when I say that. Number two, be ready to change some habits. You can't go into the new trying to hold on to what's old. Be ready to change some habits. God will fix it so nothing in your life will change until you change. That's what he did for Marcus because I'm hard-headed. And maybe he's doing that to some of you. I want you to hear me that he will put some things in your life that won't move, that won't change, that won't do nothing until you change. All right, so that's number two. Be ready to change some habits. I got about 5 more minutes and then I'm getting off. Okay, so number three, the census is designed to put everybody, what he does is he counts the men for war. He counts the men, so he putting people in charge, right? Government or whatever, very structured, very organized. And we highlighted the Levites, and that's what we're in chapter 3. I highlighted the Levites because God emphasized their call to something specific. And I want to stress this. I want to stress this, and I'm about to go off. Like he emphasizes their call to something specific. And here's number 3. I want you to say this. I got to find my calling. I got to find my place. I got to find my purpose. I want you to hear me when I say that. I got to find my calling. I got to find my place. And I got to find my purpose. And the reason why I highlight the Levites is because what God says to the Levites is, this is what you're supposed to be doing. So this is what, I need you to operate here. And how many of us, right? And you know what? I like to talk about this story that I heard. It's a very quick story. It's called The Squirrel in the Desert. The Squirrel in the Desert. And so what happened was a squirrel got mixed up and it ended up going to the same place, right, that the desert animals went. And so the squirrel is out there and he's living and he doesn't understand why he can't, thrive like the rest of the animals are thriving in the desert. He can't understand why he just don't function right in the desert. And I want you to hear me. Find your calling, find your place, and find your purpose. While he's in the desert, the squirrel is in the desert. He starts to feel like, right, that he's inadequate, like he's not enough. He starts to look down on himself and he gets depressed until one day somebody finds the squirrel and I want you to hear me, finds the squirrel and takes him and put him in a forest environment. Now, I want you to hear me when the squirrel gets to the forest environment, it starts to come alive like, wow, you know what? I am designed to do this. I'm designed to climb. I'm designed to, you get what I'm saying? But here's the thing. The thing is that sometimes you can be the right person in the wrong place. Come on, I want you to hear me when I say that. Come on, find my calling, find my place, find my purpose. You can be the right person in the wrong place. You can be doing the right thing in the wrong place. And I want you to hear me when I say that. Sometimes we want to be things that we are not. But if you get in your place, God will make you flourish. And that's why I say you got to find your calling, find your place, and find your purpose. Because sometimes what we want is what we have seen other people doing. Right? We want what we see other people because it look glamorous. But if you would just allow God to put you in your place and let you find your purpose, that's when you will see. I want you to hear me when I say that. Look, when I say find your calling, find your place, find your purpose, you can be in the right place doing the wrong thing. It's real easy, right, to live out of place when God is not leading you. Hear me when I say that. It's easy to live out of place when God is not leading you. See, this is what I do at TGM. I stress to people that God is not just for church. But if you don't have God in your life, and I'm not talking about walking around quoting scriptures, and I'm not talking about walking around with a Bible in your hand. I'm talking about understanding that God is here to lead you to your place of purpose, to lead you to, somebody, I know somebody is watching, right? And you don't understand why something is just not clicking or coming together. It's because maybe you're doing the right thing in the wrong place. Here's my question for you. Number 3, find your calling, find your place, find your purpose. Have you been living your life out of place? I don't know about you, but I came to this conclusion. I'm done wasting time, right, with people. I'm done wasting time in places doing things that are not for me. My prayer, especially for the last few years of my life, is, God, if it's not for me, move it. God, if it's not mine, I don't want it. God, if it's not where I'm supposed to be, move me. And you know what happened? I didn't like it, but some people started to drop out my life. Some things started to change in my life. And I want you to hear me. When you start talking about finding your place and finding your purpose, you got to let God lead you to your place of purpose. You got to let God lead you, tell you what it is that he wants you to do. And this is why sometimes we get so frustrated and we start looking down on ourselves. But really, maybe it's the place that you in. Maybe it's the people that you with. I just decided I'm done wasting time with people and places doing things that are not right for me. But God, I need you, God, to show me. I need you to show me where it is that I belong. I'm done wasting time. If I have the right people, right, in the wrong places, God, I need you to rearrange it. And this is what our prayers got to be. When I say find your calling, you got to pray about that. Look, this is not something that you just do off the top of your head. This is something that you got to pray. I decided I'm not living another day out of place. I'm not living another day with the wrong people connected to my life. I'm done wasting time. I'm done wasting energy. I'm done wasting effort. But God, I need you to lead my life. And so tonight, I hope that that is an encouragement to you. Find your calling, find your place, find your purpose. Let God lead your life. And that's it, man. That's all I got for you tonight. Next week, we're going to be right back in the book of Numbers. So I hope you guys can come back. I hope something that I said tonight was a good encouragement to you, right? I hope something that I said was something that answered some of your prayers or led you in the right direction. Go to our websites and see. This is what our ministry does. We help the homeless. This is what we've been doing since COVID-19 hit. We've been doing care packages. You can go to our website and see all the things that we're doing. It's www.thegodmovement.com. I hope something that I said encouraged you tonight, and I will be right back here next Wednesday. So thank you guys once again for tuning in. I'm going offline. Y'all have a great night, and I will see y'all next Wednesday at 8:30. Good night, Instagram. Good night, Facebook. And good night, TGM Television.